Today we're doing an awesome interview with Mike and Stephanie from Van Life's Sheldon's Travels, and we even get to meet Sheldon himself. Let's see how this van life couple lives in this smartly designed van and travels across the country. Hey there, Nomads. We're with Van Life Sheldon's Travels today, and they just did an interview with me yesterday, and now I'm going to return the favor, and we're going to have an awesome interview and talk about one of the cutest van life couples that you'll ever see on YouTube. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourselves?
I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we're Van Life Sheldon's Travels. We actually have been traveling in this little 2016 Ram ProMaster City for the last 2 years in this, but we've been on the road for almost 4 years now. We've been from Key West to Maine, Seattle to San Diego. So
we've been to all four corners, and we got to hit the middle of the United States, and that's where we're headed to next.
This year we hit 16 states and 15 national parks. So we like going to the national parks and taking you guys hiking and actually taking you into the park, doing some of the things there, climbing Angel's Landing and doing all that kind of stuff. And that's what we're really into. We like to take people away from the van and do things off the beaten path.
We love hot springs, love going to the beach. We usually try to head to the ocean. We don't try to stay inland too long.
So, but we've got this cute little van here we live in full time, and maybe you'd like to check it out.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see it.
Well, we've been traveling here in our 2016 Ram ProMaster City. It has a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder, but it has a 9-speed transmission, and it has no problem getting us up and over all the peaks in Colorado and everything like that. We did upgrade the tires here from the standard street tires to more aggressive AT, like 5-ply tire, to give us a little bit more traction out here in the dirt and the mud. And if we hit one of these big rocks, we don't just knock a hole in the side of our sidewall. So.
Do you guys do mostly like camping like this, or urban camping?
We do a little bit of both. We like to be in the cities for a little while. We'll hit the Anytime Fitness and get and explore the farmers markets and that kind of stuff. But then we really enjoy just being out here on BLM land and national forest, getting away from everyone for a week or so and hiking and going through the trails and going swimming in the creeks and stuff like that. But we like to balance a little bit of the both. I like to be in the city for a little bit, and then we'll head out. We get kind of bored of each one. We'll bounce back and forth. So
absolutely. I think I'm kind of the same way. I do mostly urban camping, but coming out to a place like the RTR here in Quartzsite, it's just really refreshing. You kind of get like a new lease on life.
Reset yourself. So, but then you kind of need to do stuff in the city, and you have to go in and actually buy stuff and do stuff and work and all of that. But we just enjoy walking around the cities and seeing all the sights, like going to the Space Needle in Seattle, or just walking around, Duval Street and Bourbon Street in New Orleans. I mean, we enjoy doing those kinds of things, but still being out here in the middle of nowhere for a few days by yourself it's
got its charm for sure.
It does have its benefits too. So, but the little van actually gets great gas mileage. We get like 25 to 28 miles to the gallon, which that's a huge selling point for us. We've put 70,000 miles on this van since 2016 traveling the United States. We have almost 400 videos up from the East Coast to the West Coast, and we run this little vinyl cover here to kind of help out here in the desert. We do have interior curtains and stuff, but this seems to really help out here against rocks and just to keep the sun and the rain out, and a little bit of temperature regulation. It kind of helps that. We're running a 305 watt solar panel, 36 volts. It's pretty much a house panel, and it supplies all our needs to our 5 optimum deep cycle blue top gray bottom starting deep cycle batteries that power the whole rig pretty proficiently. We might have hooked into power maybe 10 times in the last 3 years. And this rig here, we might have hooked in 5 times in the last 2 years we've been in this van. Wow. So we never really hook in. So we pretty much rely on the solar here to keep us going.
Is that AGM or deep cycle? Or?
We have AGM
Nice.
deep cycle.
That's what
so,
I've got too.
Yeah, so we got 5 of them total, and that kind of keeps everything going.
That's so crazy. How many amp hours did you say that was?
It's like it's 400 amp hours total. So.
I thought I was crazy with 315.
You
but
need
you guys
it.
got it, yeah.
When you have the
absolutely
TV, the surveillance camera system I'm going to show you, it runs 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, and pretty much these 4 little cameras here are all the way around the rig, and we can see everything from the inside, and Stephanie will show you that when we get in there. But that actually pulls a lot of power because it not only records here in the van, but it also records on the cloud, and also I can see it on my phone from anywhere, and that takes some power at the end of the day. A couple of amps from the 12 volt, 5 or 6 amps, so that's constantly drawing at all times. We put these boxes up here. I just kind of put all this up here as extra storage, and we mounted everything here to the mounting brackets, the ladder rack. That's just the factory mounting hardware, and I'll carry a nice shovel just in case. But we love the lights. We use these for when we're off-roading, or if I see something in the camera and I'm like, what's going on out there? I can kick these lights on and make it daylight outside. Or if I see someone that's actually aggressive, I can strobe these lights and make you pretty much inoperable with the strobe lights in the middle.
Seizure.
Pretty much. So these things are 75 to 150 watts of LED right here.
That's heavy duty.
It's pretty heavy duty. I took a truck box and just turned it sideways here for some more storage, and we mounted an ARB awning in here to kind of tuck in here to pull out, and we have a whole screen room. We did everything here on the van ourselves. The only part we didn't do is tint the windows. We had a friend of ours do that, but I just mounted all that stuff up there as we went along, so seems to work out pretty well to have extra storage for food. And this whole little screen room needed an area to be where you didn't put wet stuff inside of the van, because the chairs also mount up on the top there with some straps.
Very nice.
Keeps everything that's outside.
I feel
That way we could stop at a rest area, hop in the back if we need to, make lunch with no problems at all. And to us, that's kind of important. We enjoy doing those kinds of things. So we just like to kind of putt through the town and maybe stop over and at a rest area and just have lunch and right in the back of the van without having to do a lot of shuffle. Of course, we all have to do a little bit of van life shuffle, but try to do that at a minimum. So, but I'll let Stephanie take you inside here, and she'll show you the inside.
All right, so we'll start with this back door. This is famous to van life, the shoe catcher. We do put our shoes in there, and then our cleaning supplies, so they're easy reach, so that's very nice. And then you always wonder what can you do with your doors, because they go in a little bit, so you do have about a 2-inch shelf, but it's hard to like build a shelf there to make anything stationary. So we just kind of stash our bags on some hooks here, just screwed them right into the door, nothing fancy. Then we'll come inside. And over here, I don't know if you could see it, but we got our surveillance cameras, and then we do have a smart TV with all of our boosters on the back. We do run Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. You really got to stay connected. Internet is the hardest problem out here on the road. This is our curved toilet. It is actually a battery operated flushable toilet, so it does contain clear fresh water that you just use for flushable water, and then your waste tank on the bottom. So that's convenient.
That's
and we
really cool,
like.
Actually. I'm thinking like I kind of want something like that now.
Yeah, and then this one comes with this plate that you just click out like that or push in like that, and it's now locked to the floor. Wow. So it doesn't move or anything, and we didn't have to build a box for it.
Yeah,
so we
I mean,
really
you could
like
even
that.
just use that as a chair like normally, and then
right, exactly.
That's awesome, and I love the fuzzy fuzzy lid to it.
Yeah,
so.
we gotta change that out. That was about a year old. It's all matted now, but We'll change that out eventually. This is like our kind of catch-all for our keys. These are the remotes to the outside lights like Mike was showing you. We got this netting for a catch-all, but eventually we'll make a wooden cabinet here so all that could be hidden. Here's some more of those shoe catchers, and then our table. This table will actually go down and the bed will slide out. We do have a slatted bed, kind of like Joe Peck's. Ours has storage underneath. This is where we keep our Alpine freezer. You could use it as a fridge or a freezer. We did start it off as a fridge, but then we realized that we kind of just stored like liquids, you know, milk, creamer, sodas, and things like that. So we went to freezer because there's frozen vegetables, pre-made meals, and it's just much easier.
I'm kind of the same way. I don't really use too many fridge things. It's either mostly freezer or just dry.
Right, exactly. It's kind of the way to go. So then back here we kind of have like our bags of extra chargers, radios, things like that. But then underneath from here to over here is actually where our batteries are stored. So like Mike was saying, we have 4 deep cycle batteries stored underneath the bed. Here we store our bags in these, we store our clothes in these bags because they keep them nice and compressed. So all of our clothes are underneath the bed right here actually. And then here we got our kitchen area. Up here we keep all of our condiments and things like this. Our bowls and some of my smaller pots are actually back here. All of our canned foods are actually stored underneath here, behind here. So we did use all the space all the way down to the wheelbarrow. And then this is our Camp Chef oven. We really like it because it has 2 burners and an actual oven. So we do use this as heat at night. We'll open it up. And we use it as storage. Here's my cutting board, 2 cookie sheets, and cast iron. That's pretty much all my cooking ware.
That's so crazy. It's so rare that you see a van life van with a stove and an oven in it like that. It's so cool.
And now that, and like when we did our van build, these were new to the market. So it was like, should we go with the classic 2-burner Coleman or should we try this out? So we tried this out, and now anybody who does a van build, we definitely suggest making this, because even if you're not a baker, like cinnamon rolls, biscuits and gravy, something easy that you could pop in the oven, especially on cold nights, and you can run the oven and cook dinner for an hour and warm up your oven at the same time. It's a bonus for your propane.
The biggest thing I miss from using ovens is actually those dollar Totino's pizzas. I love those.
You know what? It's so funny. We were talking about we roll those up and eat those as burritos.
Yes, yes.
People think we're crazy.
No, it's delicious.
Then we actually have running water. We have a pressurized pump that we bought off of Amazon. And the water runs the sink and the outdoor shower. This is our instant on hot water heater. This is nice. It's also Camp Chef like our oven. We decided, there's a couple different brands, but we decided to go with Camp Chef since we had no problems with our Camp Chef oven. This one's actually really nice because it came with this 8-foot hose with the shower head on it. So if we want, we could take it around the side or we could take it back here if we have the room set up, whichever way we feel like it. So that's really nice. And that's the finished tour.
That's so great. And what's amazing is that you are 2 people and a turtle and can make this space work so well.
Yeah. Much.
Have you found that you have any, I mean, obviously you run into difficulties with having so much space. Do you have any tips or anything for somebody that's thinking of the same type of setup?
Get everything you are sure you want in your van, and then lay it out in your van, and then build your layout around those items.
Because everything really needs a place. I know a lot of people think, oh, that's just kind of being a little OCD, but in a van, to find things and to be able to know where stuff is, everything almost has to have a spot. And if everything has a place, then you won't be pulling your hair out looking for a place.
You go ahead and do a build, and then like you'll add your toilet in your kitchen later, but then that means you have to rebuild to fit that in.
So yeah, and actually when we our one refrigerator went dead, we actually had it on the side, and we had to put the new refrigerator underneath the bed, and that's kind of what I mean by that.
Rare setup that I've seen. It's underneath.
Right.
Yeah,
usually,
that was not.
Yeah, we did. We had a different
It was a taller
Yeah, it
one.
was a different shaped one that stood up taller instead of laid out flatter. So the one that stood up taller was nice because it was over by the sliding door, and we would just open it and then put the food away. But then once that went out, that's more for like our Gatorade bottles and juice bottles. So we just hold those there now in that place, and the fridge is under the bed.
We had to adapt it to. So
Yeah.
at some point we might actually tear this all out and redo it, because we've been living in this now for 2 years and it's held up pretty well.
But we definitely think this U shape, if you're going in a smaller van, is probably the best layout, because if you have your bed in the back or something, it takes up a lot of space. We just noticed.
That's a very interesting analysis as well. You know, and
maybe if we hop in there, maybe you could see how much room we actually have in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we do have a lot of headroom, and because it looks really small, but when the two of us are kind of sitting here, this is kind of how we hang out in the evening and can watch TV and just relax. And as you can tell, I made it so that both of us have headroom. And in the back, we notice it's sloped down a little bit, and the headroom isn't as much. So
that is
seemed to be a pretty natural place to be able to sit your feet, have decent posture in the van, because we don't want to be getting older and have back problems from sitting kind of awkward in this van. So that was really important to us, is to keep our postures done with the bed and all. But it really does work for us. So. And we actually met in college, and that was kind of nice. And that's one of the reasons we actually started doing van life, is that we were going to school and we were going to graduate in 6 months when we met each other, and we didn't want to break a lease. So we started living in her Kia Soul, and it worked. We lived in it for 1.5 years.
When everybody says you lived in your Kia Soul, we didn't live in it like here in the van where we lived in it with everything. We lived in it, and then we had a 5x10 storage unit that we actually set up as a closet. Sheldon had a 10-gallon tank and everything. And so during the day, we would actually take all the bedding out of the Kia Soul and put it in those storage units. So nobody knew that we lived out of the Kia Soul for a year.
No one. And then when we took a trip to the Keys in Florida, we were coming out of there at Christmas, and someone unfortunately rammed into the back of us and totaled the Kia out.
Which was a blessing.
It was.
Because that's how we got this van. I thankfully had gap insurance on the Kia, so then
they paid it off. It was a brand new 2015. It was in 2016, a year old, so they paid it off. We got this 2016 Ram, which, like she said, ended up being a blessing.
Right.
And now 2 years later, we've been on the road for 3.5 years.
They hit the back, and it hit the back bumper so hard it actually went flying off. And I stored that piece in my mom's storage, because eventually one day I'm going to make it into a clock or something. Because that was my first new car.
Brand spanking new car.
I had about 4 cars before, but they were like all used cars. So that was my first new car, and I had it for 18 months before somebody smashed it.
It's funny, I had something similar. I had a BMW Z4 that I hydroplaned and crushed it like a tin can. Luckily, I was fine and I didn't hit anybody when I did it.
You didn't hurt yourself,
but,
right?
Yeah, I kept the horn, or the hood ornament, and it's framed actually.
I love that.
It's just a little something for you,
Yeah.
right?
It is.
No one else knows what that means,
Exactly.
but you know what it means.
And mine was like a lime green color. It stood out. It's going to be a very pretty clock eventually.
It was a lime green Kia Soul. But we were super stealth in that.
Yeah.
And we do an Anytime Fitness membership, and we've been doing that now for about 2.5 years, and seems to work out great, as far as getting a shower.
Yeah, we actually chose the Anytime Fitness, and that was my preference, because the Anytime Fitness, you go in and it's your own bathroom, your own shower stall, your own toilet, your own sink, and a lot of these like 24-hour Fitness or Planet Fitness, you go in and it's kind of locker room style.
Yep.
And it is doable. Everybody's like, I can do it. That's fine. But like, I don't like shaving my legs in front of other people, and he don't really like shaving when people are doing like their selfies.
Their selfies in the mirror in the
That's
men's
true.
restroom, and you're trying to shave and get ready for the
You don't
morning.
want to be in the back of their selfie.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, that's me. I'm the guy taking the selfies.
We know.
Nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
we take selfies all the time.
Well, Sheldon here, he actually has his own little bed, and people wonder, does he actually hang out and sleep with us? Yeah, he does. He has his own.
He's trying to hibernate.
His own bed, and he pretty much has reign of the whole van throughout the day. So.
But he's
and
pretty social. Like, you can see he's actually technically sleeping. His eyes are closed. But his head is coming out because he hears people talking.
He's got one eye open.
Social.
He's got one eye open looking at us like, what's going on?
Why are you
here?
always waking me up?
Why are you waking me up? You're on YouTube, buddy.
Yeah.
He's a YouTube sensation.
You're the YouTube star.
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
And it's so funny because he'll do things like run around in the van in circles, and then we'll be like, oh, get this on camera, and then we'll get it on camera, and then he stops.
He'll just stop. You pull out the camera, and he just kind of, quits.
That's
altogether.
how. That's always how it happens.
It
Isn't
is.
That's,
It's so funny. Yeah, we've got him climbing up all the way back here before on camera.
Yeah, and he'll try to climb the walls. He does get a little adventurous every now and then.
Yeah.
But that's our little pet. Our little. Oh, you're opening both eyes now.
Sheldon's
oh yeah,
travels.
he senses all the activity.
Yeah, well, he definitely knows when the attention's on him.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people think turtles don't have any personality, but I'm sure absolutely that
He does.
He's got his own.
He does have his own little quirks. and
This is
stuff.
probably the funniest story. Sometimes when we're driving, we'll sit him on the dash so he can get sun during the day. And we were listening to the radio, and it was like a good song, so he turned it up, and he looked at us like, that is just way too loud.
That's just way.
So because he gave us that look, we actually turned down the radio, and then we were like, did he just tell us what to do?
He just told us.
yeah.
Well, he has us trained, right?
Absolutely. It's funny. I actually a year or two ago I read a book that's like, what do fish know, or something like that. Fish love to be pet like dogs. Like, you can teach them. They recognize their owners. They'll wait like at the edge of their tank for their owners to come back from work. They're very like, we have
Sociable.
this,
Yeah.
And so a lot more animals than we know are more like people, even
More
if
cognitive
they can't.
thinking than we think they do.
My
right?
grandfather used to have a koi fish pond, and they were like big fish, about 2 feet or a foot, and we would just used to stick our feet in there, and they'd come suck on our toes.
Well, the koi live a long time too.
They do. Those fish, we got them, like, we went to a state fair when we were kids, probably like 4, and we won them playing, some ring toss games, and now me and my cousins are in our mid-20s, and those fish are too.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it is, because my grandfather just kept all the fish we won, and now they're still in his pond. Yeah. See, he's hiding now.
He's trying to
like,
hide. He's
"Am I-
trying to get
Is my
down.
showtime over?
Is my showtime over? Time to go to sleep. So
That's hilarious.
All right, well, I guess that's
I guess
that.
we'll put him to bed.
Why don't you tell us about all your YouTube travels and awesome videos that you have on your channel and your Instagram as well?
Well, basically, we have about 400 videos up, all the way from us traveling from Key West up the East Coast to Portland, Maine, through like the OBX, Savannah, Boston, DC, all the way up to Portland Lighthouse and Cape Elizabeth,
We
Maine.
really try to make it our like daily vlog, so it's everything from the restaurants we go to the people we meet, and like the places
quirky
we
things
go.
that we see along the way.
Yeah, we
you
try
know?
to capture everything, and that's one of the things that a lot of people like about us, is because we end up helping through our channel without even realizing. Like when we go on shorter hikes through the national parks, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm hiking with a 2-year-old, I appreciate you showing me that because I could do that one. Or
There's no way I can hike that.
Right.
They know that it's out of their
right,
realm
or
of
they might
doing.
have some prosthetics and they could do some but not all. And we do have people who contact us and say thank you for showing that, because
'Cause we do
I
take
wouldn't be
people
able to
hiking
do that or
and
something.
like this year
Yeah.
we went to 15 national parks and
Yeah.
16 states, and we try to go up and hike everywhere we can in the national parks. We like to stay out on the BLM land, and we've been from San Diego to Seattle and to the Space Needle. So we're gonna try to do the same thing this year. We've been through the Smoky Mountains. we're going to try to find more places that we haven't been and
Yeah.
go back to some of the places that we went last year and see some of the things we skipped on purpose
Yeah.
because we knew this wasn't going to be a 1-year journey. This is
And
going to
when
be
you-
something that we're going to be doing for multiple years.
Right,
traveling
and when
the
you
country.
travel, you'll go to places and then you'll move on, and then somebody will be like, "Oh, did you check that out when you were
Didn't
there?"
hear
And
anything.
you
Didn't know about
So
it.
the more you travel, the more places you hear about, and the more you want to travel. It's really interesting. That's why they call it the travel bug.
Pretty
You got
much.
the travel bug.
I'm at a similar point where I've already gone through most of the highways that cross the United States. So I'm like, well, which highway haven't I driven yet?
And we like to
There
take
you
the
go.
back roads.
Yep.
We're
Yeah.
all about the back roads. We enjoy the back roads, and having a small
Yeah.
rig like this,
You can
we
do
can
that,
get
yeah.
into all
Right.
the places that most people in a big RV can't get into.
Right.
And that's something that we try to show people. We like to go back and try not get stuck, but push the envelope to
it's
get to that
happened.
campsite to get that view and to wake up by ourselves somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. So
Excellent. Well, you've got a new subscriber in me because I want to see all these travels
I appreciate
Definitely.
it.
and all of Sheldon's adventures too.
Yep.
Yeah, you might actually join our travels now.
Yeah, there you go.
See
Well,
you on the road.
Thanks a lot. We're Van Life Sheldon's Travels, and we'll see you on the road, guys.
Absolutely.
travel.
Thank you so much.
Anytime.
I have to thank Mike and Stephanie again for the awesome tour of their van and the excellent video they did of me. I would highly recommend checking out their channel, and it's really quite charming and helpful. The link is in the description here. Hopefully, we'll get to meet up on the road sometime again. I also thank you guys who stuck through watching me learn how to do an interview video. This was only my second time. I have to work on it a little bit, the angles and things like that, and the transitions and questions and talking, and just in general, being a human being is something I have to work on. It's just part of the adventure. I'll see you guys next time.